Have you ever felt like there's something more to life than what you're experiencing now? Like there's a deeper meaning you're meant to uncover, but it seems just out of reach, no matter how hard you try. I've been there, too. For years, I lived what seemed like a normal life. I worked a job, kept up with my friends, and followed the rules. But deep down, I always felt like I was missing something, like I wasn't fully living. It was as if I was playing a role in someone else's story, and no matter how well I performed, I never truly felt at peace. This feeling of disconnection became overwhelming. It was a sense that I wasn't aligned with my true purpose. I kept asking myself, why does life feel so out of sync? What am I really here for? Then, something happened that I'll never forget. It wasn't a dramatic event or a sudden epiphany. No, it was much more subtle, but it shifted everything. One morning, as I was getting dressed, I noticed something strange. On the sole of my foot, there was a small mark. It wasn't an injury, and it didn't appear to be anything that could have come from the outside. It was as though it had always been there, hidden from my conscious awareness until that moment. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe it was just a small birthmark or something that had always been there without me ever noticing. But something inside me stirred. This mark felt significant, like a clue left behind on my journey. For days, I couldn't shake the feeling that this seemingly insignificant detail had a larger purpose, as if it was a symbol of something deeper, something I was meant to discover. It was at that point that I began asking myself the most important question of all: what if I'm not like everyone else? What if this mark, this symbol on my foot, is a sign that my journey is different? And then it hit me: what if my whole life has been leading up to this moment of awakening? The moment I realized I wasn't meant to just follow the path laid out for me, I was meant to carve my own. Have you ever had a moment like that? A quiet, almost unnoticeable shift that suddenly makes you see the world differently? That's what this mark on my foot represented. It was the universe, gently whispering to me, it's time to wake up. And so, I did. If this resonates with you, take a deep breath and let it settle in. This is the beginning of your own journey of awakening. Just like that small mark on my foot, there are signs all around you, waiting for you to notice them, waiting for you to wake up to the truth that has always been inside you. The first step in any journey of transformation is the call to awaken, a realization that the life you're living might not be the life you're meant to live. It's the moment when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and you start to see things from a new perspective. This doesn't always come with fireworks or dramatic breakthroughs. Often, it starts quietly, like a whisper in the back of your mind or a feeling in your gut that something is off. For me, the mark on my foot wasn't just a physical phenomenon, it was a spiritual invitation. I now understand that it was the universe, in its subtle, gentle way, telling me that I was not just another person walking aimlessly through life. I had a unique path to follow, and that path was waiting for me to step into it. The truth is, you may have your own mark, not necessarily on your foot, but in some form or another. It could be a recurring thought, a feeling of discomfort, a particular moment when you felt disconnected from the world around you. These are not random occurrences. They are signs that you are being called to something greater, something more authentic. And just like that mark on my foot, these signs are always there. Sometimes, we're just not paying attention. Have you ever felt like life is trying to tell you something, but you weren't sure what it was? That's the call, the universe gently nudging you to wake up, to realize that you're capable of so much more than you realize. When we talk about spiritual awakening, it's easy to think of it as something mystical or abstract. But in reality, it's a very personal and grounded experience. Awakening is the process of remembering who you truly are, beneath all the layers of conditioning and external influences. Think about the times you felt most alive, when you were doing something that resonated deeply with your soul. Maybe it was a hobby, a moment of connection with another person, or a quiet walk in nature. These moments are glimpses into the authentic self that lies within you. Awakening is about tapping into those moments more fully, and living in a way that feels true to who you are, not who the world expects you to be. This journey of self-discovery is not always easy. It requires courage and vulnerability. There will be times when you'll feel unsure, when the path ahead seems unclear, and when the fear of stepping into the unknown holds you back. But this is exactly why your mark, whether literal or metaphorical, is important. It's a reminder that you are on the right path, and even in those moments of uncertainty, you are exactly where you need to be. If you've been struggling, if you've felt disconnected, or if you've experienced pain in any form, know this: it's all part of the process. We cannot awaken to the truth of who we are without first facing the darkness within. It is through our challenges, our heartbreaks, and our failures that we learn to shed the old layers and reveal the truth of our being. This can be one of the hardest parts of the journey, acknowledging the pain and discomfort that we often try to avoid. But here's the truth: without pain, there can be no growth. You see, every challenge you face is an opportunity for you to awaken to a deeper part of yourself. In my own journey, I had to confront my fears, my insecurities, and my limiting beliefs. I had to let go of the stories I had been telling myself about who I was supposed to be, and instead, embrace the truth of who I really am. And when I did that, something incredible happened. I started to feel a sense of freedom, a sense of peace that I had never known before. You may be facing pain right now. It might feel overwhelming or even impossible to move through. But I promise you this: on the other side of that pain is something beautiful waiting for you. The very challenges you face are leading you to a deeper understanding of your soul and your purpose in this world. So, where do you begin? How do you start on this journey of awakening? It starts with one simple decision: to listen. To listen to the whispers within you, to the signs that life is offering you, and to the quiet call of your soul. It's about being open to the possibility that you are not meant to live the same life as everyone else. You are meant to walk your own path, to create your own story, and to experience life in a way that is deeply fulfilling. If you're ready to embark on this journey, take a moment to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and simply ask yourself, what is the call that I'm hearing right now? What is life trying to tell me? Trust that the answers will come. Trust that, just like that mark on my foot, the universe is guiding you to exactly where you need to be. The mark on your foot is more than just a symbol, it's a reminder that you are unique. Your journey is unlike anyone else's, and that's a beautiful thing. The path to awakening begins with the willingness to listen to your own inner call. It's time to step into the truth of who you are, and trust that everything you need to become your true self is already inside of you. Have you noticed any signs or symbols in your life that might be trying to tell you something? Take a moment to reflect on them, and be open to the message they hold for you. Have you ever found yourself lost in the chaos, wondering if you'll ever find peace again? Like you're caught in a whirlwind of emotions, overwhelmed by the demands of life, and no matter how hard you try, you can't seem to find your footing. I know that feeling all too well. After my initial awakening, I thought things would magically fall into place. I was ready to embrace the new me, to step into my purpose, and live a life full of meaning. But reality didn't quite match up to my expectations. In fact, it felt like everything got even harder. There's a misconception that once you wake up to the truth of who you are, everything becomes easy. The truth is, spiritual awakening doesn't always look like the peaceful, enlightened existence we imagine. Sometimes, it can feel like everything in your life is crumbling apart. This is what I call the storm, the overwhelming emotions, confusion, and discomfort that arise as we let go of old patterns and beliefs. In my case, after realizing that my life had been guided by external expectations and not by my true calling, everything seemed to unravel. Relationships started to feel strained. I questioned everything: my career, my friends, even my past decisions. I had so many questions but no answers. The future seemed uncertain, and I couldn't see the path ahead of me. It felt like a deep, internal crisis, a storm that threatened to drown me in fear and self-doubt. And yet, I could feel something within me telling me to stay calm, to trust that this was part of the process, even though everything inside of me was screaming for relief. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever experienced a time when the world felt like it was spinning out of control, and you weren't sure how to make sense of it all? When you're in the midst of a spiritual crisis, it's easy to think that something is wrong with you. You might even feel like you're failing. After all, aren't spiritual people supposed to feel at peace and centered all the time? Isn't that the goal, to transcend the chaos of the world and live in harmony? But the truth is, this inner crisis is a natural part of the awakening process. It's the moment when the old version of you is being dismantled. All the beliefs, habits, and fears that have held you back are being shaken loose so you can make space for something new. It can feel uncomfortable, even terrifying, but this is the moment when true transformation is happening. In this stage, you might experience feelings of disorientation, confusion, and intense emotional turbulence. It can be easy to think that something has gone wrong, but in reality, this is a vital stage of spiritual growth. You see, before you can step into the new version of yourself, you must first let go of the old. You must face the fear, the pain, and the uncertainty of what's ahead. In my own journey, I remember asking myself, who am I now? If I'm not the person I used to be, then who am I meant to become? I felt lost, adrift, with no clear sense of direction. And honestly, it was incredibly unsettling. But here's the thing, you are not alone in this. The storm may feel overwhelming, but it is not permanent. The turbulence is a necessary part of your journey. If you're in the midst of a crisis right now, whether emotional, spiritual, or psychological, know that this is not the end. This is simply the space where you're shedding your old skin, preparing for something new. At first, it may be hard to see the purpose of such a crisis. It can feel like life is falling apart, and there's no way out. But in reality, these moments are a blessing in disguise. They are the catalyst for deep change. The storm forces you to confront the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, your insecurities, your fears, your old wounds. These are the parts of you that have been hiding in the shadows, preventing you from stepping fully into your potential. And even though the process is painful, it is necessary. You cannot grow without facing the darkness. During my crisis, I was forced to face the parts of myself I didn't want to acknowledge. I had to confront the fear that I wasn't good enough, that I would never be able to live up to my potential. I had to let go of relationships that no longer served me and make peace with the fact that my life would look different than I had imagined. It was uncomfortable, yes, but it was also liberating. Because, here's the truth, the crisis is not a sign that you failed. It's a sign that you are being called to something greater. It's an invitation to step into a new phase of your life, to shed the layers that no longer serve you and embrace who you truly are beneath all the masks and expectations. Now, you might be wondering, how do I get through the storm? How do I find peace when everything feels so chaotic? It's a good question, and the answer is not always simple. But here's what I've learned, peace doesn't come by avoiding the storm. It comes by learning to stay grounded in the midst of it. In my darkest moments, when everything felt overwhelming, I learned to focus on the small, grounding practices that kept me connected to my true self. I began to meditate regularly, to listen to soothing music, and to spend time in nature. These practices helped me reconnect with the part of me that was always calm and centered, even when the outside world was in turmoil. It's easy to think that we need to have everything figured out, that we need to have all the answers. But the truth is, sometimes the only thing you need to do is breathe. In those moments when the storm feels too much, simply taking a deep breath can help you reconnect with the present moment. When you are in the middle of your crisis, remind yourself that it is temporary. The storm will pass. And when it does, you'll be stronger, wiser, and more connected to your true self. One of the most profound lessons I learned during this time was to embrace uncertainty. The crisis I was going through forced me to let go of my need for control. I had always been someone who tried to plan and predict every outcome, but in the midst of my spiritual awakening, I realized that the true path forward was one of surrender. You see, when we try to control everything, we block the flow of the universe. The real beauty of life is in its unpredictability, its spontaneity. The storm isn't something to fight, it's something to move through. And as you move through it, you'll find that there is a deeper peace waiting for you on the other side. So, if you're in the middle of a storm, don't give up. This is not the end. This is the beginning of something new. You are being called to step into a higher version of yourself, and that often requires a period of discomfort and uncertainty. Trust that this crisis is serving you. It is part of your spiritual awakening. And when the storm passes, you will emerge stronger, clearer, and more aligned with your true purpose. The inner crisis is not something to fear, it is the gateway to transformation. You must face your fears, confront your doubts, and allow yourself to feel the discomfort of the unknown in order to break through to a higher state of being. What fears or limiting beliefs are coming up for you right now? What would it feel like to embrace the uncertainty of your journey, knowing that it is leading you to a greater understanding of yourself? Have you ever felt like you were carrying invisible scars from the past, scars you didn't even know how to heal? Scars that affected your relationships, your choices, your sense of self-worth? I've been there. I remember a time in my life when I felt utterly disconnected from the person I truly was. I was living on autopilot, following the patterns of my past and relying on old habits that no longer served me. It was like I was walking around with invisible wounds, wounds that I didn't even fully understand, but that shaped every part of my existence. My fears, my insecurities, and my doubts were all rooted in these unhealed parts of myself. When the storm of my spiritual awakening hit, it brought everything to the surface. The pain I had buried deep within me, the wounds I had ignored or pretended didn't matter, all came rushing forward. And while I was finally on the path to self-discovery, I realized that before I could truly step into my power, I needed to face the wounds I had been avoiding. This is what the healing journey is all about, acknowledging the past, facing the wounds, and reclaiming the power that is rightfully yours. Healing isn't about erasing your past or pretending that the pain doesn't exist. It's about understanding that the pain you've carried does not define you. It is about taking the time to heal the wounds that have held you back so that you can move forward with a sense of freedom and authenticity. I had to learn this the hard way. For years, I believed that healing meant forgetting or pushing the painful parts of my life into the background. But what I discovered was that true healing comes from acknowledging the pain, sitting with it, and then choosing to release its hold over you. During my own journey, I spent a lot of time reflecting on my past, on the events and experiences that had shaped who I was. I revisited old memories and allowed myself to feel the emotions that I had long suppressed. It was incredibly difficult at first. I didn't want to face the hurt, the disappointment, and the shame. But with time, I realized that this was the only way forward. The process of healing requires vulnerability. It requires you to acknowledge the pain you've carried and be willing to release it. It's not about getting rid of the pain entirely, it's about reclaiming your power and taking control of how the pain affects you moving forward. You might have your own wounds, perhaps from childhood, past relationships, or past failures. These wounds can take many forms. They might show up as a fear of rejection, a lack of self-worth, or a deep-seated belief that you're not good enough. And just like I did, you may have been carrying these wounds for years, unaware of how much they were affecting your life. Healing begins when you acknowledge these wounds. It starts with becoming aware of the patterns that are tied to them. Have you ever noticed certain reactions you have in relationships or situations that don't quite make sense? Perhaps you overreact in certain circumstances, or you avoid confrontation at all costs. These behaviors are often signs that something deeper is at play. In my case, I realized that my fear of rejection was tied to a childhood experience where I felt abandoned. This wound had affected my relationships in my adult life, causing me to push people away before they could get too close, afraid that they might leave me just like I was left before. Facing these wounds is not easy. It can be painful, and at times, it might feel like you're reliving the hurt. But this is where the healing takes place. By acknowledging and facing your wounds, you allow yourself to take the first step toward freedom. One of the most important aspects of healing is self-compassion. You have to learn to be kind to yourself, to treat yourself with the love and respect that you deserve. Often, we're our own worst critics, berating ourselves for past mistakes or for not being enough. But healing begins when you start to show yourself the same compassion that you would show to a loved one. I had to learn this lesson slowly. When I began to face my wounds, I found myself getting frustrated and angry with myself for not having healed sooner. I had a lot of negative self-talk, and it was hard to move forward when I was constantly criticizing myself. But one day, I realized something important: healing takes time. It's a process, and there's no right way to go about it. It's not about being perfect or fixing everything at once. It's about showing up for yourself, day by day, and taking small steps forward. This is where compassion comes in. It's about forgiving yourself for past mistakes and allowing yourself to be human. It's about realizing that you are worthy of love and healing, no matter what you've been through. The most powerful thing you can do on your healing journey is reclaim your power. When we're wounded, we often give our power away. We allow our past to define us, to limit what we believe we're capable of. But healing is about taking that power back. It's about choosing to not let your past control your future. For me, reclaiming my power was about learning to trust myself again. I had spent so many years doubting my own instincts, afraid that I was not capable of making good decisions. But as I healed, I started to realize that I was capable of so much more than I had ever given myself credit for. Reclaiming your power means letting go of the stories that no longer serve you. It's about recognizing that you are not your past, you are not your mistakes, and you are not your wounds. You are something much greater. You are a being of light and possibility, and it's time to step into that truth. There are many tools that can help you on your healing journey. Here are a few that were particularly transformative for me. 1. Journaling. Writing about my experiences and emotions helped me gain clarity and release pent-up feelings. It gave me the space to express myself without judgment. 2. Meditation and breathwork. These practices helped me ground myself, calm my nervous system, and connect with my inner wisdom. 3. Therapy and coaching. Talking with a therapist or coach can provide valuable insights and guidance as you navigate your healing journey. They can help you uncover hidden patterns and provide tools to shift your mindset. 4. Self-care practices. Taking time for self-care, whether it's a warm bath, a walk in nature, or just taking a nap, is essential for healing. It helps you reconnect with your body and your emotions, giving you the space to rest and rejuvenate. 5. Forgiveness. Forgiving yourself and others is one of the most powerful ways to heal. It's not about condoning the past, it's about releasing the hold it has on you, so you can move forward with peace. If you're reading this and recognizing the wounds within yourself, I invite you to take the first step toward healing today. Start by acknowledging the pain. Give yourself permission to feel the emotions that have been buried for so long. And then, be kind to yourself as you move through the process. Healing is not linear, and there is no rush. It's about progress, not perfection. Take a moment right now to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what wound is ready to be healed within me? What is it that I need to let go of to reclaim my power? Trust that as you begin this journey, you are not doing it alone. You are supported, and every step you take brings you closer to the freedom and peace that await you. Healing is not about erasing the past, but about reclaiming your power and transforming your relationship with it. By facing your wounds with compassion and self-love, you open the door to deep healing and personal growth. What is one area of your life where you are holding on to pain or limiting beliefs? How can you begin to heal this part of yourself and step into your true power? Have you ever felt like you were meant for something more, but you just couldn't figure out what that more was? Like there's a deep yearning within you, an unexplainable pull to step into something greater, yet you're not quite sure what that looks like. I know this feeling intimately. After going through the storm of spiritual awakening and the intense healing journey, I found myself standing at a crossroads. The old me was shedding its skin, and I was left with a sense of emptiness, not in a bad way, but in the sense that something big was missing. It was like I had awakened to a new version of myself, but now I was wondering, what's next? What is the purpose behind all of this? I had no answers. But what I did have was a deep knowing that I wasn't meant to live life the way I had been. I wasn't meant to stay stuck in the routines, jobs, or relationships that were draining me. There was something within me calling me forward, urging me to align with my true essence, to step into my power and live a life that reflected who I really was. This chapter is all about discovering and aligning with that true essence, that deeper part of you that holds your true purpose. It's about shedding the layers that no longer serve you and embracing your authentic self. At some point in our lives, most of us start questioning, why am I here? What is my purpose? These questions are natural and part of the human experience. We all want to feel like our lives have meaning, that we're doing something that matters. But often, we look for purpose in the wrong places. We think it's about success, money, or status. We get caught up in societal expectations, trying to live up to a version of success that isn't aligned with our soul's calling. I know I did. For years, I chased the idea of success, believing that achieving certain milestones would bring me happiness and fulfillment. But after my awakening, I realized that true purpose is not found in external accomplishments. It's found in living authentically, in aligning with the essence of who you truly are. The first step in aligning with your true essence is letting go of the belief that your worth is tied to external achievements. Your worth, your purpose, and your fulfillment come from within. When you connect with your true essence, you begin to align with your soul's deepest desires, and that is where the real magic begins. For much of my life, I wore masks. I wore the mask of the successful person, the confident one, the put-together individual who always had it together. But behind those masks, I was hiding. Hiding my fears, my insecurities, my true self. I was afraid that if people saw who I really was, they wouldn't love me or accept me. But in order to align with my true essence, I had to let go of those masks. I had to stop pretending to be someone I wasn't. This process wasn't easy. I had to face the parts of myself that I had been avoiding. But once I started being real with myself, everything shifted. The more I allowed myself to be vulnerable, the more I was able to tap into my authentic self. I began to embrace my imperfections, my quirks, and my unique qualities. I stopped comparing myself to others and started living from my heart. And here's the truth, when you start living authentically, you start to attract what's truly meant for you. The right people, opportunities, and experiences will begin to show up because you're finally in alignment with your true self. One of the most powerful tools I discovered in this journey was learning to listen to my inner voice, my intuition. For years, I ignored my gut feelings, second-guessing myself and relying on external validation. But once I began tuning into that quiet, inner guidance, everything changed. Your intuition is always speaking to you, guiding you toward your true path. The challenge is that we often don't listen to it. We're so caught up in the noise of the world, the opinions of others, the expectations, the distractions, that we can't hear our own inner wisdom. But your intuition is your soul speaking to you. It's the whisper of your true self, guiding you toward your purpose. The more you trust it, the more aligned you become with who you're meant to be. I remember one particular moment when I had to make a decision that seemed to go against everything I had been taught. The safe choice was to stay in my current job and continue along the path I had been following. But my intuition told me that it was time to move on. It told me that I had a greater purpose, something bigger waiting for me. At first, I resisted. The fear of the unknown crept in, and I was paralyzed with doubt. But after sitting in stillness and listening to my heart, I realized that I couldn't ignore the call anymore. I had to take the leap. And you know what happened? As soon as I trusted that inner voice and made the decision to leave my job, doors began to open. Opportunities one never could have imagined started coming my way, and I realized that when you align with your true essence, the universe supports you in ways you can't predict. When you align with your true essence, you're not just stepping into your purpose, you're also stepping into your power. Your energy shifts. You stop feeling like you're forcing things to happen, and instead, you start to flow with life. You begin to trust that everything is unfolding as it should, and that you are exactly where you're meant to be. Living in alignment with your true self also means setting healthy boundaries and protecting your energy. As you grow spiritually, you'll begin to notice that not everything and everyone aligns with your higher purpose. You might find that certain people or situations drain you, and that's okay. Part of aligning with your essence is learning to say no to things that don't serve you and saying yes to what fuels your soul. This isn't about being selfish, it's about honoring yourself. When you align with your true essence, you create space for your own growth and expansion. And in doing so, you become a better version of yourself, one that is able to contribute to the world in a more meaningful way. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know what my true purpose is? How do I know if I'm aligned with my essence? The answer is simpler than you think. Your soul's purpose is not something you need to find outside of yourself. It's already within you. You just have to listen to the whispers of your heart and follow the path that feels true to you. One of the best ways to discover your purpose is to ask yourself what brings you joy, what excites you, what makes you feel alive. When you do something that aligns with your essence, it feels effortless. It's not about forcing yourself to fit into a mold or achieve a certain outcome, it's about doing what feels true to your soul. Start by following your curiosity. Try new things. Explore different avenues. Trust that the path will unfold as long as you stay connected to your true self. So, if you're ready to step into your true essence, here's your invitation: let go of the expectations of others, let go of the masks you've been wearing, and begin to live authentically. Listen to your intuition, trust your inner guidance, and align with your soul's purpose. This is the beginning of living a life that truly fulfills you, a life that reflects the person you were always meant to be. When you align with your true essence, you step into your power and purpose. This alignment comes from within, not from external achievements or validation. Trust your inner voice, embrace your authenticity, and let go of anything that no longer serves you. What is one area of your life where you feel misaligned? How can you begin to align more closely with your true essence and purpose? Have you ever felt paralyzed by fear? That tightness in your chest, that sinking feeling in your stomach when you think about stepping outside of your comfort zone? The fear of the unknown, of failure, or even the fear of success itself, all of it can be overwhelming. I used to live my life in fear. Fear of what others might think, fear of making the wrong choice, fear of stepping into something new. Every time an opportunity or a calling came my way, my first reaction was to recoil in fear. I would tell myself, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What if I fail? I'm sure you can relate to some of these thoughts. But I want to tell you this: fear is not the enemy. Fear is simply an invitation to grow, to expand, and to step into the next version of yourself. This chapter is about learning how to face fear, not run from it. It's about transforming fear from something that holds you back into something that propels you forward. Fear has the potential to be a powerful ally in your journey of personal and spiritual growth, but only if you know how to work with it. Let's take a moment to understand fear. Fear is an emotional response that often arises when we perceive a threat, whether real or imagined. It's a survival mechanism that has been hardwired into us for centuries. Our ancestors needed fear to protect themselves from danger, to avoid predators, or to run from harmful situations. But in today's world, fear no longer serves the same purpose. The things we fear are often not life-threatening, they're usually tied to our beliefs, our insecurities, or our past experiences. Fear can show up as self-doubt, anxiety about the future, or the worry that we'll fail. But in many cases, the things we fear don't pose a true threat to our survival. They only threaten our sense of comfort, security, or ego. The key to transcending fear is recognizing that it doesn't have to control you. Fear is a signal that something new is on the horizon, that you are about to step out of your comfort zone. And if you can learn to reframe fear as an opportunity for growth, you'll begin to approach it differently. One of the most common fears people face is the fear of the unknown. The fear of what might happen if we take that leap, the fear of making a change or stepping into uncharted territory. I remember feeling this fear so strongly when I was contemplating a big decision in my life. I had the chance to leave behind a career that wasn't fulfilling me and pursue something that felt much more aligned with my soul's purpose. But I was terrified. The unknown seemed so vast and uncertain, and the fear of making the wrong choice kept me stuck. I had to learn to sit with that fear, to understand it, and to move through it instead of letting it control me. What I realized was that the unknown isn't as scary as we make it out to be. It's only our mind that amplifies the fear, the what-ifs, and the buts, until it feels insurmountable. The truth is, the unknown is where magic happens. It's where growth and transformation occur. When you step into the unknown, you're creating space for new opportunities, new experiences, and new versions of yourself. Fear doesn't have to stop you from moving forward, it can actually be the catalyst for your biggest breakthroughs. Another common fear is the fear of failure. Many of us hold ourselves back because we're afraid of making mistakes, of falling short of our own or others' expectations. This fear often stems from perfectionism, the belief that we have to do everything right, that our worth is tied to success. I struggled with this fear for a long time. I had a deep-seated belief that failure meant I was not good enough. But as I continued on my journey of self-discovery, I came to realize that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Failure is simply a lesson, a stepping stone on the path to growth. Think about all the successful people you admire. Every single one of them has failed. They've made mistakes, encountered setbacks, and faced rejection. But what set them apart is that they didn't let fear of failure stop them. Instead, they used their failures as opportunities to learn and grow. They understood that failure wasn't a reflection of their worth, but rather an invitation to try again, to do better, to evolve. The truth is, the only way to avoid failure is to avoid trying, and if you're avoiding trying, you're also avoiding living. The more you let go of the fear of failure, the more you'll allow yourself to take risks and experience life to its fullest. It might sound counterintuitive, but there's also a fear of success. Have you ever held back from pursuing your dreams because you were afraid of what would happen if you actually achieved them? Maybe you worried that success would bring more pressure, more responsibility, or even more judgment from others. I had this fear too. For a long time, I didn't fully step into my power because I was afraid of what success might bring. I thought that if I succeeded, I would have to change who I was, or that I would lose the people who loved me if I outgrew them. I worried about being judged, about standing out, about being too much. But success doesn't change who you are, it amplifies who you already are. It's an expression of your growth, your courage, and your willingness to step into your power. The fear of success is often rooted in limiting beliefs, beliefs that tell you that you're not worthy of success or that success will bring more pain than joy. Once I shifted my mindset and began to embrace the possibility of success, I realized that success is not something to fear. It's something to welcome. It's a reflection of your growth, your potential, and your ability to step fully into your purpose. So, how do you transcend fear and move through it with grace? The first step is to stop resisting it. Fear is a natural part of life, and resisting it only makes it stronger. Instead, learn to acknowledge fear without letting it control you. When you feel fear arise, try these steps. 1. Pause and breathe. Take a moment to breathe deeply and center yourself. When you're in fear mode, your body goes into fight or flight mode. Deep breathing helps calm your nervous system and bring you back into the present moment. 2. Get curious. Instead of judging or fearing your fear, get curious about it. Ask yourself, why am I afraid? What is this fear trying to teach me? What is the worst that could happen? Often, when we look at fear objectively, we realize it's not as scary as we thought. 3. Take small steps. You don't need to face your fear all at once. Start by taking small steps outside your comfort zone. Every step you take builds your confidence and helps you move through the fear. 4. Shift your focus. Instead of focusing on the potential negative outcomes, focus on the positive possibilities. Visualize the success, the joy, and the growth that could come from facing your fear. 5. Trust the process. Trust that fear is simply part of the journey. It's not a sign to stop, it's a sign to keep going. As you move through the fear, you'll expand and grow, and you'll discover just how capable and powerful you truly are. Fear will always be a part of your journey. But it doesn't have to control you. The next time you feel fear, remember that it's not a sign to turn back. It's a sign that you're about to step into something incredible. I invite you to look at fear differently. Instead of avoiding it, embrace it as a signal that you're growing, evolving, and stepping closer to your true purpose. Fear is simply the edge of your comfort zone, and beyond that edge is where the magic happens. Fear is not something to be avoided or feared. It's an invitation to grow, to expand, and to step into your power. When you face your fear with curiosity and trust, you begin to transcend it and open the door to your greatest potential. What fear is holding you back right now? How can you begin to face it and step into the next level of your growth? Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, do I truly love myself? Not in a superficial, ego-driven way, but in the deep, unconditional way that honors your true essence, flaws and all. For much of my life, I didn't understand self-love. I thought loving myself meant I had to be perfect, that I had to look a certain way, act a certain way, and achieve certain things to be worthy of love. The truth is, I didn't feel truly worthy of love at all, at least not in the way I wanted to be loved. I had spent so many years seeking validation from others, measuring my worth by external achievements, that I forgot to nurture the most important relationship of all, the one with myself. But once I started my journey of spiritual awakening, I began to realize that self-love wasn't something I could achieve through external means. It was something I had to cultivate from within. It was the foundation of my healing, my growth, and my transformation. If you've ever felt disconnected from yourself, or if you've been caught in the cycle of seeking validation from others, this chapter is for you. We're about to dive deep into the powerful, transformative practice of self-love, and how it can change everything in your life. We live in a world that often teaches us to seek love and approval from external sources. We're told that we need to look a certain way, achieve certain things, or have certain experiences in order to be loved and accepted. But the truth is, no matter how much external validation we receive, it will never truly satisfy us. It will never fill the deep, soulful need for love that resides within us. I remember, for years, I tried to find my worth through the approval of others. I sought validation in my career, in my relationships, and in my achievements. But no matter how much I achieved or how many compliments I received, I still felt empty. It was like a constant hunger that could never be satisfied. Then, something shifted. I realized that the love I was seeking from others was never going to fill the void within me. The only way to truly feel loved, worthy, and enough was to love myself, not just on the surface, but deep down, in every part of my being. Self-love is not about being narcissistic or selfish. It's about honoring yourself, embracing who you are, and treating yourself with kindness and compassion. It's about acknowledging your worth and giving yourself permission to show up fully, as you are, without needing anyone else's approval. Self-love is the foundation of everything. When you love yourself, you naturally attract love from others. You stop seeking validation because you've already given it to yourself. You stop settling for relationships, jobs, or situations that drain you because you know you deserve better. You start to treat yourself with the respect and care that you would give to someone you deeply love. Self-love is also about accepting yourself in your entirety, the light and the shadow. It's about acknowledging your flaws, your mistakes, and your imperfections without judgment. When you love yourself, you understand that you are a work in progress, and that it's okay to be imperfect. You are worthy of love just as you are, without having to change a thing. A key aspect of self-love is self-compassion. Self-compassion is the ability to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a close friend who is struggling. Instead of criticizing yourself when you make mistakes, you offer yourself love and support. This is something I had to learn the hard way. For many years, I was my own worst critic. I would beat myself up for not being perfect, for not having everything together. But over time, I realized that this constant self-criticism was only hindering my growth. It wasn't helping me become a better person, it was only holding me back. When I started to practice self-compassion, everything changed. I began to treat myself with the same love and understanding that I would offer a friend in need. I stopped being so hard on myself and started showing myself the same kindness that I showed others. And this shift was profound. It allowed me to heal old wounds, release shame, and embrace my imperfections without guilt. Self-love is not something that happens overnight. It's a practice, a daily commitment to nurturing yourself, honoring your needs, and loving yourself unconditionally. Here are some practices that can help you cultivate deeper self-love. 1. Practice gratitude for yourself. Take a moment each day to express gratitude for who you are. This could be through affirmations, journaling, or simply reflecting on your strengths and qualities that you appreciate about yourself. When you focus on what you love about yourself, you begin to shift your mindset and truly see your worth. 2. Set boundaries. Loving yourself means knowing when to say no. It means protecting your energy and your well-being. Start setting healthy boundaries in your relationships, work, and personal life. Honor your own needs and make space for self-care. Saying no to things that drain you is a powerful act of self-love. 3. Forgive yourself. Self-love involves releasing guilt, shame, and past mistakes. When you forgive yourself, you free yourself from the heavy weight of self-judgment. Understand that you are human, and making mistakes is part of the journey. Be gentle with yourself and let go of the need to be perfect. 4. Prioritize self-care. Self-care is not just about bubble baths and pampering, it's about taking care of your body, mind, and soul. Prioritize activities that nourish you, whether it's exercise, meditation, reading, or spending time in nature. When you take care of yourself, you're sending a message to your body and mind that you are worthy of love and care. 5. Embrace your authenticity. To truly love yourself, you must embrace who you are, not who you think you should be. Let go of the need to fit into society's expectations and allow yourself to be authentic. Whether it's your quirks, your passions, or your imperfections, embrace every part of yourself. You are worthy of love exactly as you are. 6. Celebrate your wins. Take time to celebrate your achievements, big or small. Acknowledge your progress and give yourself credit for the steps you've taken on your journey. Self-love means recognizing your worth and celebrating yourself, even when no one else is around to do it. When you begin to practice self-love, you will notice a profound shift in every area of your life. You'll start to feel more confident, more at peace with yourself, and more in tune with your true essence. Your relationships will improve because you'll no longer settle for anything that doesn't honor your worth. You'll start to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that align with the love you've cultivated within yourself. Self-love also creates a ripple effect. When you love yourself, you inspire others to love themselves too. You become a living example of what's possible when you honor your own worth. And as you continue to deepen your self-love, you'll find that your life begins to unfold in ways you never imagined. I invite you to take a moment today to reflect on your relationship with yourself. How much love and compassion do you offer yourself? Where can you begin to treat yourself with more kindness, understanding, and respect? Remember, you are worthy of love. You are deserving of all the good things that life has to offer. And the more you love yourself, the more you open the door to healing, growth, and transformation. Self-love is the foundation of all healing and transformation. When you love yourself unconditionally, you begin to attract more love, peace, and abundance into your life. Treat yourself with the same kindness, compassion, and respect that you would offer to a loved one. What is one thing you can do today to show yourself more love and compassion? How can you commit to nurturing your relationship with yourself every day? Have you ever felt like you were carrying a heavy weight from the past, an emotional burden that seems to follow you everywhere you go? Perhaps it's a past mistake, a betrayal, or an old wound that just won't seem to heal. It's as if the past is holding you back, keeping you stuck in a loop of regret, anger, or sadness. I've been there. I remember a time in my life when I couldn't let go of my past. I was hurt, angry, and resentful, and those feelings dictated my thoughts, actions, and relationships. The pain I carried from past experiences kept me trapped in a cycle of negativity. I wanted to move forward, to heal, but I couldn't shake the grip of the past. That's when I learned a powerful truth: forgiveness isn't about excusing the actions of others or erasing the past. It's about freeing yourself from its hold on your present and future. This chapter is about the transformative power of forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. It's about releasing the emotional weight you've been carrying, so you can step into the next chapter of your life with clarity, peace, and purpose. Unforgiveness is like carrying around a heavy backpack full of stones. Each unforgiven moment, each grudge, each unresolved conflict is a stone that adds weight to your journey. Over time, the weight becomes unbearable, and you start to feel as though it's impossible to move forward. I know what it's like to feel weighed down by past hurts. Maybe someone lied to you, betrayed you, or let you down in a way that left a deep scar. Perhaps you've been carrying resentment or anger for so long that it feels like a part of you. When we hold on to these negative emotions, they take root inside us, festering and growing until they become a core part of our identity. The truth is, holding on to anger and resentment doesn't hurt the person who wronged you, it hurts you. It keeps you tied to the past, preventing you from stepping fully into your power and your potential. Unforgiveness keeps you stuck in a story that no longer serves you. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened, but about releasing the grip it has on your life. It's about finding the courage to free yourself from the chains of the past so that you can embrace your future. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for healing and transformation. When you forgive, you release yourself from the emotional hold that past events have on you. You no longer allow the actions of others to dictate your present experience or your emotional state. Instead, you take back your power. I know that forgiveness can seem impossible, especially when the pain is deep and the hurt feels unforgivable. But I promise you, forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. It's not about saying, "It's okay" or "What you did doesn't matter." It's about acknowledging the pain, accepting that it's a part of your story, and then choosing to let go of the emotional charge tied to it. When I finally forgave those who had wronged me, I felt a sense of lightness I hadn't experienced in years. It was as if the weight I had been carrying was suddenly lifted, and I could breathe again. I realized that holding on to anger and resentment was only keeping me tethered to a version of myself that was stuck in the past. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing what happened. It doesn't mean pretending that everything is okay. What forgiveness does is free you from the emotional bond to the past, allowing you to move forward with greater peace and clarity. While forgiving others is a powerful step in healing, one of the most important aspects of forgiveness is forgiving yourself. For many of us, the harshest critic we have is ourselves. We hold on to guilt, shame, and regret for past mistakes, failures, and missed opportunities. But this self-judgment only keeps us in a state of emotional turmoil. I struggled for a long time with self-forgiveness. I blamed myself for the decisions I had made in the past, for the relationships I had allowed to drain me, for the ways I had held myself back. It took me years to realize that holding on to this guilt wasn't helping me grow, it was preventing me from moving forward. The moment I decided to forgive myself, everything changed. I accepted that I was human, that I had made mistakes, but that those mistakes didn't define me. I learned to treat myself with the same compassion and understanding I would offer a close friend who had made a mistake. I released the weight of guilt and allowed myself to move forward, knowing that I was worthy of love, happiness, and peace, just as I was. Forgiving others is a deeply personal process, and it's different for everyone. Some people may need years to fully forgive, while others may be able to forgive almost immediately. It's important to honor your own pace and process. Here are some steps that may help you along the way. 1. Acknowledge the hurt. Before you can forgive, you need to acknowledge the pain that was caused. Don't rush past your emotions or suppress them. Allow yourself to fully feel what you're experiencing. The only way out of the pain is through it. 2. Choose to let go. Forgiveness is a choice. It's a conscious decision to release the grip that anger, resentment, or hurt has on you. You don't have to do it all at once, you can take small steps toward forgiveness. But each time you choose to let go, you free yourself a little more. 3. Understand the other person's humanity. This step isn't about excusing their behavior or minimizing your pain, but about recognizing that the person who hurt you is also human, and they, too, are carrying their own wounds and struggles. This doesn't make their actions right, but it can help you shift from anger to compassion. 4. Set boundaries if necessary. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to allow them back into your life if their presence is harmful. It's okay to forgive and still set clear boundaries to protect yourself from future harm. 5. Release the need for revenge or justice. Holding on to the desire for revenge or justice only prolongs your suffering. Trust that by forgiving, you're releasing the emotional weight. The need for the other person to pay for their actions is something that you can let go of. Your peace is more important than any external justice. 6. Allow yourself to heal. After you've forgiven, give yourself permission to heal. Let go of the emotional scars and allow yourself to move forward with an open heart. On a spiritual level, forgiveness is an act of liberation. When you forgive, you break free from the energetic cords that tie you to the past. You release the negative energy that's been keeping you stuck and create space for new opportunities, new growth, and new blessings to enter your life. Forgiveness allows you to align more fully with your higher self, the version of you that is loving, compassionate, and free. It's an essential part of your spiritual awakening because it opens the door to greater peace, freedom, and alignment with your true essence. I can honestly say that once I forgave, my entire life began to shift. I started to experience more peace, more clarity, and more joy. I stopped carrying the emotional baggage that had been weighing me down for so long. And as I forgave, I also started to attract more loving, supportive people into my life. Because the energy I was putting out was one of forgiveness, peace, and healing. I invite you to take a moment and reflect on any person, situation, or part of yourself that may still be holding on to the weight of unforgiveness. Who or what are you still holding on to, even though it's causing you pain? What would it feel like to release that burden and set yourself free? Remember, forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about you. It's about choosing to free yourself from the past so that you can step into your fullest potential. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a gift of peace, healing, and transformation. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for liberation. When you forgive, you release the emotional weight of the past and create space for healing and transformation. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. Who or what do you need to forgive in order to move forward? How can you begin the process of letting go of the past and embracing your future? Have you ever found yourself frustrated with the speed at which things seem to unfold in your life? Maybe you've had big dreams and goals, and despite your best efforts, things just don't seem to be moving as quickly as you'd like. You wonder, why isn't this happening for me right now? You may even question yourself, thinking, am I doing something wrong? I've been there. I've spent countless nights feeling impatient, wishing for faster progress, and doubting whether I was on the right path. In those moments, it felt like I was doing everything I could, yet the universe wasn't meeting me halfway. I wanted things to change now. I wanted answers. I wanted movement. But the truth is, divine timing doesn't work on our human schedule. It works in perfect alignment with the greater flow of the universe. It's easy to forget that life is not a race, nor is it an exact science. Everything happens in its own perfect time, even if that time doesn't match up with our expectations. This chapter is about learning to trust divine timing and surrendering to the flow of life. It's about understanding that just because things aren't happening on your timeline doesn't mean they won't happen. In fact, often, they're unfolding exactly as they need to bring you to the right place at the right time. Let me ask you, have you ever found yourself trying to control every little detail of your life? Maybe you've planned out your future so meticulously that it leaves no room for anything unexpected. You check the boxes, cross off the tasks, and follow the script to the letter. But when things don't unfold according to your plan, it can feel like you've failed or missed your chance. I used to be like that, a perfectionist, trying to control every aspect of my life. I would obsess over the how and when of things happening. If my plans didn't go according to my exact expectations, would spiral into frustration, thinking that I had somehow gone off track. I believed that if I just worked hard enough, pushed enough, or planned enough, everything would fall into place. But I quickly learned that life doesn't work that way. One of the biggest lessons I had to learn was to surrender, not in a passive way, but in a way that allowed me to trust that life had my back. I had to understand that sometimes, when things aren't happening in the way I expected, it's because the universe has something even better in store for me. I just need to allow space for it to unfold. Divine timing is the belief that everything in life happens when it's meant to, according to a higher, cosmic order. It's the idea that the universe, or a higher power, knows when the right moment is for us to receive something, whether it's love, success, healing, or any other form of manifestation. It can be difficult to trust divine timing, especially when we're anxious or feeling like things are taking too long. But in those moments of impatience, we're forgetting that everything we want to experience is already making its way to us, and sometimes, the delays are part of the plan. Think about it, there are moments in life when things feel like they fall into place effortlessly, and then there are moments when nothing seems to be working. But these moments of apparent delay are often times of preparation, alignment, and internal growth. When we stop trying to force things and instead surrender to the flow of life, we open up space for everything to fall into place in the most beautiful way. I know it's hard to trust the process when you can't see the full picture, but one thing I've learned along my journey is that the process is just as important as the destination. Life isn't just about reaching the goal or manifesting your desires, it's about the growth, lessons, and experiences that come along the way. You see, when we're too focused on the end result, we miss out on the valuable moments that are teaching us what we need to learn before we get there. There's wisdom in the waiting, and there's growth in the uncertainty. I used to think that the waiting periods in my life were wasted time. But now I see that every delay, every pause, was a divine intervention. It was time for me to grow, shift my perspective, or release something that wasn't meant for me. It was during these moments of pause that I began to understand that trusting the process is key to my transformation. Surrendering to divine timing means letting go of the need to control every outcome. It means releasing attachment to how, when, and where things should happen and instead trusting that the universe has a greater plan for us, one that is better than anything we could have ever imagined. Surrendering to divine timing means letting go of the need to control every outcome. It means releasing attachment to how, when, and where things should happen and instead trusting that the universe has a greater plan for us, one that is better than anything we could have ever imagined. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing your grip on the outcome, knowing that everything is unfolding in divine order. It's about moving from a state of fear and impatience to one of peace and trust. I remember a time when I was struggling with a big decision in my life. I kept asking myself, what should I do next? What if I make the wrong choice? It wasn't until I surrendered the need to figure it all out that everything began to fall into place. Once I stopped obsessing over the outcome, the right opportunities started showing up. The clarity I had been seeking came when I finally let go. The practice of surrendering is not always easy, especially when we feel uncertain or afraid. But it's in these moments that we must lean into trust. Trust that everything is unfolding in perfect timing, even if we can't see it yet. When you begin to trust divine timing, you'll notice signs that you're on the right path. It's not always a clear-cut moment, but there are subtle hints that the universe is guiding you. Here are some signs that you're in alignment with divine timing. 1. Synchronicities. You start noticing patterns or coincidences in your life that seem to align perfectly with your desires or needs. These little moments of synchronicity are often a sign that the universe is supporting you. 2. Flow state. Things begin to feel effortless. You're no longer pushing or forcing, but instead, things seem to unfold naturally and with ease. This is when you know you're in the flow of divine timing. 3. Peace amid uncertainty. Instead of feeling anxious or stressed about your future, you begin to feel a sense of peace. You know that the timing of everything is unfolding just as it should, and you trust that you're on the right path. 4. Aligned opportunities. The right people, places, and opportunities begin to show up in your life at just the right moment. You might meet someone or discover something that feels like it was meant to happen. 5. Inner guidance. You feel a deep inner knowing or intuition guiding you. Even when things are uncertain, you trust your inner voice and the nudges you receive. At the end of the day, trusting divine timing is all about surrendering to the journey of life. It's about letting go of the illusion that we can control everything and instead trusting that we're being guided toward what we need at exactly the right time. So, if you're feeling frustrated or impatient with your current circumstances, take a moment to breathe and remind yourself that everything is unfolding in divine order. You are exactly where you need to be. And when the time is right, everything you desire will fall into place, beautifully and effortlessly. Divine timing is the universal flow that guides your life. Trusting in it means surrendering control and allowing the universe to work in alignment with your highest good. Every moment, even those of delay, is preparing you for what is meant to come. Is there an area in your life where you're trying to control the outcome? How can you begin to surrender and trust the timing of your journey? Have you ever felt like you were living someone else's life? Maybe you've been trying to meet the expectations of your family, your friends, or society, all while losing touch with who you truly are. It's like you're playing a role in someone else's script, but deep down, you know something is missing. I've been there too. For years, I tried to fit into the mold that I thought I was supposed to. I was living according to what others expected of me, what my parents wanted, what society deemed successful, what was normal according to those around me. I spent so much time trying to meet these external expectations that I forgot to ask myself what I actually wanted, what truly resonated with my soul. The truth is, when you live inauthentically, you are not living your life fully. You are not tapping into the deepest and most powerful version of yourself. To truly live a fulfilled, joyful, and meaningful life, you must embrace who you really are. This chapter is all about reconnecting with your authentic self, the essence of who you are, free from judgment, fear, and the pressures of external expectations. It's about letting go of the masks you've worn and stepping into the truth of your own being. When you live authentically, you align with your highest purpose, and that is when true transformation happens. We live in a world that constantly bombards us with standards of beauty, success, and happiness. Social media, advertisements, and even well-meaning friends and family tell us what we should look like, how we should act, and what we should desire. It's no wonder that so many of us feel disconnected from our true selves. The truth is, we often feel like we're not good enough as we are. We feel pressured to be someone we're not, to change parts of ourselves to fit into what others expect. But the more we try to be what we're not, the more we lose touch with who we are at the core. I used to feel like I wasn't enough. I wasn't smart enough, pretty enough, successful enough, or even kind enough. The stories I told myself about who I should be came from all the external voices around me. I thought I had to prove my worth, to make others happy, and to fit into the world's idea of what success was. But I quickly learned that this kind of life is exhausting, and it's never truly fulfilling. The day I decided to embrace my authentic self was the day everything began to shift. I stopped trying to prove anything and began to ask myself, who am I, really? What do I want? What does my heart desire? How do I want to show up in the world, without fear of judgment? The journey of embracing your authentic self starts with self-acceptance. It's about acknowledging that you are enough, just as you are, without needing to change or prove anything to anyone. Self-acceptance is not about ignoring areas of growth or improvement. It's about loving yourself in the present moment, flaws and all. It's about recognizing that you are a work in progress, but that doesn't diminish your inherent worth. You don't have to wait until you're perfect to accept and love yourself. You are worthy of love and acceptance right now. I remember the first time I truly accepted myself. It wasn't a sudden moment of epiphany, but rather a gradual shift that occurred when I allowed myself to stop being so hard on myself. I realized that I was worthy of love and acceptance, even when I wasn't perfect. And from that place of self-acceptance, I started to make decisions that were more in alignment with my true self. When you accept yourself, you create a foundation of inner peace and self-worth. You no longer seek validation from others because you know, deep down, that you are already whole. This is the starting point for true transformation. Your authentic self is always within you. It's the essence of who you are, the part of you that existed before any external influences shaped your identity. It's your soul's true calling, your deep inner truth. The challenge is that, over time, we can become disconnected from that truth. We get lost in the noise of the world, the expectations of others, and the limitations we place on ourselves. To reconnect with your authentic self, you must create space for stillness and introspection. This means listening to your heart, your intuition, and your inner guidance. It means quieting the voices of doubt, fear, and criticism, and instead, learning to trust the whispers of your soul. I found that the more I listened to my inner voice, the more I could hear my true desires. The more I connected with my soul, the more I was able to live in alignment with my highest purpose. I stopped chasing after things that didn't serve me and began to pursue what brought me joy, peace, and fulfillment. One of the most powerful tools for reconnecting with your authentic self is meditation. Meditation allows you to silence the external noise and listen to your inner voice. It allows you to peel away the layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning that have clouded your true essence. If you haven't already, I invite you to explore the practice of meditation. Even just a few minutes a day can help you reconnect with the deep wisdom of your soul. A huge part of living authentically is letting go of the fear of judgment. We live in a world where everyone has an opinion, and sometimes it feels like we're walking on eggshells, trying to avoid criticism or rejection. But the truth is, the fear of judgment only holds you back from being who you are. I understand that the fear of judgment can be paralyzing. We don't want to upset people, disappoint them, or be seen as different. But when we allow the fear of judgment to control our actions, we suppress our true selves. We shrink ourselves down to fit into a box that was never meant for us. Letting go of fear and judgment is a powerful act of self-liberation. It's about standing tall in your truth and knowing that the people who truly matter will love and support you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. One thing that helped me let go of fear was to remind myself that I am not responsible for other people's opinions. People will always have their own perceptions, and you can't control how they see you. But what you can control is how you see yourself. When you stand in your truth, you become a magnet for the people, experiences, and opportunities that are meant for you. Living authentically means aligning your actions, thoughts, and energy with your true self. It means living in a way that feels aligned with your values, your passions, and your deepest desires. It's about creating a life that is a true reflection of who you are, not who the world expects you to be. When you live authentically, you naturally attract the right people and experiences into your life. You stop forcing things and begin to allow the flow of life to guide you. Opportunities will arise that align with your soul's purpose, and you'll feel more at peace with who you are and where you're headed. I found that the more I embrace my authenticity, the more I experience joy, peace, and fulfillment. I no longer try to be someone I'm not or hide parts of myself to fit in. I am free to be who I am, and that is a beautiful and empowering feeling. Living authentically is the key to unlocking your fullest potential. When you embrace your true self, you align with your soul's purpose and create a life that is deeply fulfilling. Self-acceptance, inner truth, and the courage to let go of fear are all essential to this journey. What parts of yourself have you been hiding or suppressing to meet others' expectations? How can you begin to embrace and express your authentic self today? Have you ever found yourself so caught up in your thoughts about the past or future that you completely miss what's happening in the present moment? Maybe you've been so focused on what went wrong in the past or what you're hoping for in the future that you didn't fully experience what's unfolding right in front of you. I know I've been there. How many times have I sat in a beautiful moment with my loved ones, but my mind was elsewhere? How many times have I worried about what's coming next or regretted something from the past, and in doing so, missed the opportunity to simply be here, now? We live in a world that pulls us in 1,000 directions. With constant distractions, obligations, and the pressure to always be doing, it's easy to forget that the only time we truly have is right now. The past is gone, and the future hasn't arrived yet. The present moment is all we can experience, and when we are truly present, we unlock a deep sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment. This chapter is about learning the art of presence. It's about slowing down, releasing the grip on what was and what might be, and embracing the beauty of the now. When we do this, we begin to align with the flow of life in a way that brings us closer to our true selves. We live in a culture that values productivity, achievement, and constant doing. How many times have you been told, you need to be more productive, or, time is money? How many times have you felt guilty for resting, for taking a break, or for simply being? The pressure to do more, be more, and achieve more is constant. But in our relentless pursuit of productivity and success, we often forget that doing more doesn't always lead to more fulfillment. In fact, constantly doing without being present in the moment leads to burnout, anxiety, and a sense of disconnection from ourselves and others. I remember the first time I realized that I was so busy doing things that I wasn't really living. I was rushing from one task to the next, always thinking about what needed to be done next. It was in a quiet moment of reflection that I realized, I was missing my life. I wasn't truly experiencing the beauty of the present. I was always focused on the future, and that future was often filled with worry. The moment I decided to slow down and be present in the here and now, everything shifted. I realized that life is not just about what you achieve, but about how you experience each moment along the way. The present moment is a powerful place. It's the only moment in which we can truly create, feel, and experience. When we're fully present, we tap into a deep well of peace and connection. The stress of the past and the worry of the future dissolve, and all that remains is the beauty of now. One of the most profound realizations I had was that life is happening in the now, not in some distant future. When I stopped living in anticipation of what was next, I started to see the magic in everyday moments. Whether it was sipping my morning coffee, watching the sunset, or simply breathing deeply, I started to recognize how much beauty I had been missing. The present moment is where the magic happens. It's where you have the power to create, to love, and to be. When you embrace it fully, life opens up in ways you couldn't imagine. So how do you become more present in your life? How do you stop running from one task to the next and start truly living in the moment? Here are some practices that have helped me, and they can help you too. 1. Mindful breathing. One of the easiest ways to anchor yourself in the present moment is by focusing on your breath. When you feel yourself getting caught up in thoughts or stress, take a few deep breaths. Inhale deeply for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale slowly for 4. This simple practice can calm your mind and bring you back to the present. 2. Meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating presence. Even a few minutes a day can help you reconnect with the now. As you meditate, focus on your breath, your body, or the sounds around you. Let go of the need to control your thoughts, and simply observe them without judgment. With practice, meditation helps you develop a deeper sense of mindfulness throughout your day. 3. Grounding techniques. When you're feeling overwhelmed or distracted, try grounding yourself in your surroundings. Focus on the sensations in your body and the environment around you. Feel the earth beneath your feet, the warmth of the sun, or the breeze on your skin. These simple acts of grounding bring you back into your body and help you connect with the present. 4. Digital detox. our constant connection to technology can take us out of the present moment. Try taking a break from your phone or computer for an hour a day. Use that time to be present with yourself or with loved ones. Disconnecting from digital distractions allows you to reconnect with the beauty of life as it is right now. 5. Cultivate gratitude. One of the most powerful ways to shift your focus back to the present is by practicing gratitude. Take a moment each day to reflect on what you're grateful for. When you express gratitude, you begin to notice the small, beautiful moments in your life that you may have previously overlooked. 6. Slow down. In our fast-paced world, we often rush through everything: eating, talking, walking, working. Try slowing down. Whether you're eating a meal or walking outside, take your time and truly engage in the experience. When you slow down, you give yourself the opportunity to fully experience and appreciate the present moment. When you begin to live more fully in the present moment, you'll start to notice the profound benefits that come with it. Here are just a few. Reduce stress and anxiety. When you focus on the present moment, you stop worrying about the past or future. This helps reduce feelings of anxiety and stress. You can deal with challenges as they come, without the burden of anticipating problems that may never arise. Increased joy. The present moment is filled with beauty, love, and joy. By being present, you begin to notice and appreciate the small moments of happiness that you may have missed before. Whether it's a moment of laughter with a friend or the sound of birds singing in the morning, being present allows you to fully experience these gifts. Deeper connection with others. When you are present with the people around you, you form deeper, more authentic connections. You're no longer distracted by your thoughts or your phone. You're engaged in the conversation and truly listening. This leads to more meaningful relationships and a stronger sense of community. A sense of peace. One of the most profound benefits of presence is a deep sense of peace. When you stop worrying about what's next or what's behind you, you allow yourself to simply be. This peace is not dependent on external circumstances but is an inner state that comes from being fully in the moment. As you move forward in your journey, remember that the present moment is a gift. The future is unknown, and the past is gone. The only time you have to truly experience life is now. When you make the conscious choice to be present, you open yourself up to all the beauty, peace, and joy that the moment holds. So, take a deep breath. Let go of the past. Let go of the future. And just be here, now. The present moment is where life unfolds. When you embrace the power of presence, you experience life in its fullest form. Being present allows you to connect with your true self, find peace, and experience joy in the simplest of moments. Where in your life are you living in the past or future instead of the present? What is one small step you can take today to bring yourself into the here and now? With this, we come to the end of our journey through these spiritual lessons. As you continue on your path, remember that the process of healing, transformation, and awakening is ongoing. You are always evolving, always growing. Embrace each step, each moment, and know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Keep trusting, keep evolving, and above all, keep being your authentic self. The best is yet to come.